And the Calgary Flames organization would like to take this time to sincerely thank all fans in attendance tonight and every night for another great show of support. Budweiser wants to remember there's more great games waiting, so please enjoy responsibly. Calgary Flames back under Scotiabank Saddledome Thursday, December 16th, when we take on Toronto Maple Leafs. Game time is 7 o'clock. Head to CalgaryFlames.com for all your ticket information. On behalf of all of us, my name is Beasley St. So long. Enjoy your evening. Please drive safely on the way home tonight. Right now, Brendan Parker and Ryan Dittrick on tonight's Ram post-game show, brought to you by your Alberta Ram dealers.
Winning Motor Trend Truck of the Year 3 times in a row? That had never been done before. Then again, neither had a 12-inch touchscreen or 1,000 pound-feet of torque. Never been done before. It's just kind of our thing.
Hi everybody, welcome to Flames Post Game Live, brought to you by Ram Truck, winner of Motor Trend Truck of the Year for the 3rd year running. Brendan Parker alongside Ryan Dittrick here as the 2-game homestand for the Calgary Flames comes to wraps here, both against Eastern Conference opponents. Tonight it was the Boston Bruins, and it was a 4-2 victory in favor of the visitors here on this night. And Calgary Flames dropped their 4th straight, but not for a lack of opportunities, especially early in this hockey game. But maybe first of all, just get your read on and takeaways from a night here at the Scotiabank Saddledome.
Yeah, not a bad effort by any stretch. Like you said, maybe a little bit of puck luck could have worked in their favor on a night like this. 5-on-5, we're talking about a pretty even hockey game. The power play, which generated a lot of discussion over the last couple of days, looked a little better, a little bit more of a shooting mentality too. But ultimately on this night, the difference was just a few too many lapses in the defensive zone that disrupted an otherwise pretty tidy effort. But when those lapses came, Boston obviously has the types of shooters that can make you pay, and they did.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you kind of go back to moments in that first period and then into the second. I think the shot count at one point 16-7, and then Boston ends up taking a 2-0 lead. So it's one of those games where you kind of feel like maybe you would have been in a better spot. You bury a couple of opportunities earlier in the game, but that's hockey, I guess, right? It's the way she goes. Let's talk about what we saw, or show you at least what we saw in this hockey game. The highlights, courtesy of tonight's 4-2 loss, but we'll start all the way back in the first period. And this is kind of what we were alluding to. It seemed like, there were some chances, pressure at one end, and then this shot is kind of a seeing eye one that ends up getting by the shoulder of Jacob Markstrom there. Yeah,
Flames are in pretty good position defensively, but really no two ways about it. That's a goal that Jacob Markstrom is going to want back. Just came a little bit off his post there, and credit to Connor Clifton because he put that in a pretty good spot, sort of handcuffed Markstrom on the glove side.
That was his first of the season, so Clifton's first makes it 1-0 after one. Shots were 15-7 in the first. And then, again, kind of the same sort of feeling. You had some pressure at one end, and then this line does it to you on the other end, and it's Brad Marchand redirecting him.
Yeah, we were watching this one kind of unfold, and it seemed like in the moment, pretty harmless-looking play developing, but Bruins are in the middle of a line change, but rather than get it deep and give away possession, 2 of their stars hang on to the puck, and they end up making a play.
Yeah, some nice hand-eye coordination there from Marchand, who buries that one for his 11th of the season, and then they would add one more. This one, the 3-0 goal, and it's kind of a broken coverage there, but Charlie McAvoy walks in and makes no mistake from the slot.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Just a little bit sloppy defensively. You're in good shape, but then guys start running around a little bit as well. And when the puck pops out into the slot, Charlie McAvoy, one of, if not the best defenseman in the NHL. He's a puck hawk. He's looking for those opportunities.
Nice shot there from McAvoy for sure. That's his 4th of the season, and this would give you some life, though, before the end of that second period, and we kind of touched on the power play and working on it a little bit, and the shot that eventually does not find its way through originally, but it kind of drips right onto the stick. Matthew Tkachuk, he'll take that one any day.
I like that play. Rasmus Andersson finishes the night with a couple of points, but on this play, he's not shooting to score. He's not putting it in there at 100 miles an hour. He's just getting a puck to the net, create some chaos, get it through traffic, and allow some of, a guy like Matthew Tkachuk who makes his living in that area get a few cracks at it.
Well, and you see some traffic there, and that's what Rasmus was looking at, and eventually benefits you. But this is the killer early in the third period that kind of puts in a tough spot for the rest of the game, and they kind of stick with it here. Curtis Lazar, the one-time Calgary Flame, he scores his second of the season with Johnny on the spot.
Tough break on this one as the fourth line goes to work for Boston. But again, this is kind of what we talked about with Jacob Markstrom. The guy battles. He made 2 or 3 great stops there. He was engaged in that third period to give his team a chance. It just didn't quite fall for them.
Flames did get one late. This was, I think, with about a minute and a half left. Milan Lucic throws it at the net. Goes off the skate, I believe, of Sean Monahan, who's got his 4th of the season as well. And that ends up leaving it where we stand here with a 4-2 Flames loss at the hands of the Boston Bruins, and that's kind of what we're looking at. I think shots finished, I want to say it finished 42-27 in favor of Calgary. So, but we were kind of talking about as we watched that third period go on, it kind of sucked, the life out of it a little bit in terms of just, sucking everything in, making sure he kind of kept outside, and they really didn't give up much in terms of that third period.
No, and that's a veteran team, and certainly they're not the same looking Boston Bruins with the loss of David Krejci. I mean, he did so many things for so many years on that team, but they still have guys like Patrice Bergeron and guys like Brad Marchand, guys who really know how to manage games and, like you said, kind of suck the life out of it. That's a position they're comfortable in. A multi-goal lead going into the third period. There wasn't a lot of panic in their game, and I think we've seen spurts of that with the Flames this year. Daryl Sutter said it this morning. That's the type of style you're trying to emulate moving forward. So maybe you're not so much a fan of moral victories, but at least you can look across the hall and say that's what we're working towards.
Yeah, for sure. And, I guess one thing for the Calgary Flames, which we'll talk about here as this postgame show rolls along, is just, kind of where the schedule maybe will, it's been difficult.
We're into the meat grinders.
Yeah, and, maybe you get a little of that back here. Just, I know it's, kind of every second, there's still a rhythm to it every second day, but at least you're on home ice here and get an opportunity to maybe establish some momentum here. But maybe first, before we go into that, let's talk about Linus Ullmark tonight, because I think, you can go back to a couple of points in this hockey game, as we've mentioned. Changes maybe the perception of the game. If you can find one of those to get to the back of the net a little earlier in this hockey game, maybe you look at puck luck a little bit. He did make a couple of big saves, though, as well.
Yeah, he was good. And you're right, that first period, you were up on them by, I think the shots were 2-1 at one point. They finished, and obviously in the Flames' favor as well. But he's the type of goaltender this year that's had a lot of pressure placed on him. Tuukka Rask no longer in the picture. They got Jeremy Swayman, who's in the backup role. Dan Vladar's no longer there. So the safety net's gone. This is a big year for him. He's played well at the NHL level, but he's really been given the reins here. And with a Boston Bruins team that's had a lot of success over the last few years, you knew that this was going to be the opportunity for him to prove it again behind a veteran team this time versus what he's been used to over the past couple of years. So what we saw from him tonight was exactly that, just kind of making the most of his opportunity.
Yeah, this one was late too on Matthew Tkachuk, except for the pads still look a little blue, but
yeah, we did.
I'm not sure if that's just the color.
We're not sure about that one. We'll have to ask.
Maybe I could be colorblind too. I'm not really sure anymore. Either way, nice piece of work though. 40 saves, finishes it off. Ullmark, solid, and now back-to-back nights for him. Yeah. Some guys love to get feel the rubber early and end up facing a lot of shots. But I think it was 41 saves the other night in the Edmonton win against the Oilers as well, and then he's up around 40 again here tonight. So. Obviously, he likes the workload. He's making good with it. I think we're going to hear from head coach Daryl Sutter here in just a moment. Before we do, because we saw a couple of those in that highlight pack. Matthew Tkachuk, he's kind of 2 nights in a row where he's in and all around it. And I think a couple of times he almost looks kind of skyward and going what do I got to do here? But the chances are there. Yeah. Just not seeing the goals coming, and that's cyclical, I suppose, in this league, right?
It is, and he's the type of guy that. We wonder if frustration was ever going to creep into his game, but that's not really what we've seen over the last couple. A lot of guys will tell you, as long as they're getting the opportunities and are in the right spots to be there, they don't let themselves get frustrated because they know it's going to fall. And I was wondering if we were going to see a bit of that looking skyward sigh of relief after he put in that goal. Not so much. It was all business for him, but like you said, the other night he was a part of a couple of those goal line opportunities. Maybe back then we saw a little bit of the frustration at that point, but he was all over it again tonight. When he is on, and we saw after he scored this goal here, it seemed like the goal legs are back, right? He starts handling the puck a little bit more. We see more of that creativity that he's known for. And, he's the type of guy that drives your offense. And it was good to see him playing at that level tonight.
3 shots tonight again. I think there was a crossbar in there as well in the early going of this hockey game. He ends up finding the score sheet as the 1 goal for the Calgary Flames early in this hockey game, 12th on the season. So Matthew Tkachuk continues to be a part of the conversation for sure. 20-plus minutes as well for him as well. Maybe get a chance to hear from him as this post-game show rolls along. But first, let's hear from the head coach of the Calgary Flames, Daryl Sutter, his thoughts on tonight's loss.
Kind of a frustrating game. Dominating probably chances and shots, things like that. So it's a little bit frustrating.
When you dominate in the shots, I think it was 42 shots on goal. So was it more a matter of not getting good quality chances in the slot or just not finishing those chances?
No. I think they scored goals at times that changed the momentum of the game.
Daryl, I remember you talking on the road about pockets of adversity in games. Now that your group's maybe in a pocket of adversity in the season, how do you need to see them respond to it?
You mean during the season?
Yeah.
Well, because there are pockets of adversity all the time. You just respond with your effort and your collective game plan in terms of sticking to it. It's not that hard to figure out. It's just, hey, you know what? This is, I've said it, you guys got way ahead of yourselves too. I've told you this lots about the process with this team. Still got lots to learn about the whole deal. When you play against, you look at the last 4 or 5 games you're playing against teams that can, when they get a lead, can really check, and that's how we got to play too. Right? So, it's the pockets of adversity would be that tonight would be that we didn't score the first goal, and we've had really average goaltending the last little while. So if you're a team that doesn't have secondary scoring, and you get average goaltending, then you're up against it. So that's the adversity you're facing.
Are you seeing enough from your skaters in the defensive zone to help out the goaltenders in these situations?
Lots, yeah.
Kind of feel that, I think probably the word that sums that up perfectly there is the word frustration. And, I think you kind of see that boiling over at certain points, just not able to either A, capitalize on chances, or just kind of feeling like maybe things should have worked differently given the chances you had. So, that's, again, adversity, something you're going to face here throughout the course of a season.
He said frustration, so I couldn't help but look at the stat sheet that's in front of us after that. To me, the one guy that sticks out after a night like this, Blake Coleman, who we know who's been, fighting a little bit offensively this year. But you look at his stats: 6 shots on net, 4 hits. Yeah. He was involved all over the place tonight. And we saw late in the third period when he got involved physically, kind of came out of the scrum, his hair was messed up. He just kind of gave it the old head shake. Sometimes it just doesn't fall for you. And in cases like this, the effort's there, the volume is there, the quality of chances are there. But some nights you get goalied, and we've seen a few of those the last couple. And I know that the frustration mounts when that happens. But Daryl Sutter again said it there. Some of the media maybe get ahead of themselves. We talk about the process. It is a process, and I know lots of people hate that word, but it is true. They're going to have nights like this. They're going to have nights that they win, and maybe they didn't play as well. So you just do have to stick with it.
Yeah, well, and the other thing that comes with that is, it's a long season. So you know that it's gonna. You want it to go faster.
It feels like it's March at this point. We got to be honest. This schedule is a little crazy. But
there's been a lot going on, especially on the road. That is for sure, and it does feel that way at times. But but it's true though. You want it to go faster, and sometimes you see results early, and you think maybe it is, but. Take some time for sure. All right, let's reset things here quickly before we hear some more thoughts from the post-game room and the power play. I think that's kind of one area that we have touched on a little bit here, but now, I think it was actually Matthew Tkachuk who we'll hear from, but, a couple of nights ago, you pointed this out in Vegas, power play opportunities weren't coming in high volume for a little while there, but now you get a couple of nights, you get an opportunity to work on it, you spend some time on it in practice. What are you seeing right now from that man advantage?
Well, I kind of go back to what this morning told us. You had a great conversation with Noah Hannafin about, how the power play is kind of a cyclical thing in a game, right? Yeah. Some parts of the season it's going to go quite well and you're going to be operating like it's no big deal, and other nights it's not going to fall for you. But And it kind of lends itself to that point that you just made there. If you're not getting as many opportunities, it is possible that you're going to fall out of rhythm a little bit. And now the last couple we've seen them get, I think they're up to 10 now over the past 2 games. So they're getting a chance to actually flex their muscles a little bit that way. But part of the issue that this team has been facing is there's no practice time. So we've talked about some of the insane travel schedule that they've been dealing with. Well, I think Daryl Sutter said they're only going to have 2 practices over the course of December. They used yesterday's to work on power play formations, 5-on-4, 5-on-3. I think we even saw a 5-on-2 at one point, so they're getting their touches. And we saw some of that pay off here. Sometimes you do just need a bit of practice time, and it seemed to pay off here because there was a little bit of a shift in mentality here. We saw Rasmus Andersson shooting the puck more. We saw them snapping it around and utilizing the bumper position a little bit more too.
Entries were good too. And
they were good, yeah.
Well, and sometimes I think it was Andrew for sure. And Noah talked about that. The conversation isn't, you're not trying to go 5 for 5. That'd be nice.
Right.
It's not going to happen. The other team's paid to kill those off as well. But, it's just more of the fact that when you get them, you want to generate momentum off them. And then, if you can find one like you did tonight, at least it can springboard you onto something new, right?
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
And we saw that on the first one, right?
Yep.
They didn't score, but they had some good chances, and there was a little bit of a buzz in building.
Yeah, without a doubt. Good crowd tonight, by the way. It was, there was a little yellow in there too, a little spice, and a little Saturday night for sure. But good to hear that buzz back here in the Scotiabank Saddledome. All right, let's go back into the press conference room. Let's listen in on some post-game thoughts from Matthew Tkachuk, the goal scorer here tonight.
Daryl used the word frustrating to describe the game in the sense that you guys had lots of shots and chances. How did you kind of see it and feel about it?
Yeah, we had lots of shots. Not a ton of chances, but they capitalized on theirs early. When you get behind 3-0 against a team like that, who's all those guys have been there before, Stanley Cup Finals, or at least most of them, they know how to win. And they played, they just played a solid game once they had the lead.
Did it feel like they made it hard to get into the middle at times, or just get into the slaughter in front of the net?
Not really. I thought that we, were able to get there and had some chances in the first and in the second. Not a ton, but goalie made some good saves, I think. They just had the puck more throughout the night than we did.
Games, Matthew, where you probably deserve better, didn't get better. Is there a risk there in maybe getting away from what's working for this team? It's something you have to guard against?
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously it's not, losing. I think it's, 4 now, but I think we weren't happy with the ones in, the one in Vegas and the one in San Jose, definitely. And, the last game we did some good things and probably could have gone either way there in OT, but, tonight they're the better team, and we just got to get back, go on the road here for these 2 games and get back on the winning side of them and, come back here for that long homestand right before Christmas feeling good. And, we're still obviously in a good spot standings-wise, and we've put ourselves in that spot with the start we've had, and there's been, not as much, not as many wins recently, obviously, so just get back to that, but we've put ourselves in a good spot. There's no panicking, there's no need to do this and that, but just get back to playing, being hard to play against, playing with the puck, getting the leads, playing with the lead, all that little stuff, so just get back to this road trip.
Would you say that's the mood in the room, like what you just said, hey, we got off to a good start, that allows us to kind of weather a skid like this? Is that kind of the feeling in the room right now?
Well, we don't want to ever go through a little skid, so but I think that if there's other people that are questioning or whatever, we're not. We know what we have. We believe in ourselves. We believe in the group. Stay positive, get back to having fun and having fun winning and enjoying the grind of winning games. And I think there's no better way for us to do that than go on the road into a great building in Chicago and a team in Nashville that's playing great hockey. So
maybe add to that is that the comfort you guys obviously have playing at home, the way you've been able to collect wins this year, that kind of feeds into that outlook going onto the road again.
Yeah, I mean, you'd rather play at home every game if you can. So we got to start taking advantage of playing here. When teams get the lead on you, it's hard, and we got to get the lead here, get the building rocking again, and put some pucks in the net and get some wins, because that's when those are some fun games when we can do that. So get back. We're not playing at home for 2 more games. So go on the road, get some wins, come back here for the long homestand, feeling good about ourselves.
That sense kind of road trip be beneficial, just getting away and going to environments that you've had more success this season than at home.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's an ideal situation. We have been on the road a lot this year, and like I said, rather be at home as much as possible. But we have no excuse but to go in there and take tomorrow and learn from this and come back ready to go.
Okay, thanks very much.
We call it the Ram 1500 Limited. But truth be told, there's nothing limited about it. Ram 1500, winner, J.D. Power Award for Best Driver Appeal.
All right, Flames Postgame Live brought to you by Ram Truck. On the air is Brendan Parker, Ryan Dittrick alongside, by the way, Ram Truck, winner Motor Trend Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row, as we break down a 4-2 loss at the hands of the Boston Bruins here, the Calgary Flames. Finish off this homestand. We heard some good stuff from Matthew Tkachuk there post-game, and obviously the next step is to go right back out on the road. And this team's been, as we know, outstanding on the road this season. Back-to-back games, though, it's kind of an area where they've excelled as well. And maybe sometimes it's just about getting right after it and working yourself out of it.
Yeah, it's been a theme for them this year, you're right. I mean, they've played well on the road. They've got the first win, and I think that's been critical to their success this year, too, because in a lot of the back-to-back situations, they haven't faced a ton of really challenging travel, which is great. So if you get off on a good foot, you get the first one in the bag, and go into the second one because you're feeling, hey, let's go get the next one now, right? So this trip a little bit different. You're not taking a bus from LA to Anaheim. You got a little bit of a flight between Chicago and Nashville. These are 2 teams that are playing really well right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like you said, the road's kind of been their haven right now, so hopefully they can snap out of it here.
Embrace the grind for sure. And obviously it's crazy that we're already talking about a Christmas break coming up here, but just after that, we were just kind of looking at it, the middle of a 5-game homestand, opportunity to, get settled here at home and still play lots of games, but establish that side of it. 4 games, and then the Christmas break, and then 1 on the other side. So it'll be an interesting stretch here, the schedule. I want to kind of talk about the other thing. It was kind of the storyline, the theme of this morning was, Milan Lucic. I know it's, game 1042 tonight. So
everybody remembers that one.
Yeah, it's not unique in terms of that game, but it's more the fact that celebrating an opportunity here to salute Luch as far as game 1000 last season. It was kind of cool to listen to him, though, this morning. I know you were in there and just kind of taking some of that, looking back a little bit, reflecting a little bit. Obviously, cool to have, the moment to be able to celebrate with the fans, too. And we'll see it here as we roll it.
And even better to have the Boston Bruins in town, too. This is, I think you said in the pregame, 500 and some games with them of the 1,000 total. So
566.
There you go. Perfect, right? So tons of great memories. You obviously won a Stanley Cup there, too, so that's going to add to it. But probably more than anyone on this team, Milan Lucic really feeds off the crowd. And some of the topic of discussion this morning, too, wasn't just, his love for the game and his appreciation for the Flames fans. We know he loves it here in Calgary. But maybe sort of the genesis of the Lou chants. And Eric Goodbranson touched on it as well. He said, that gets everybody else on the bench fired up too. You can only imagine if you're Milan on there taking the puck down the wing and you got the crowd on your side. So great moment. It was a great moment last year, and we did a ton of stories on it, which was great. But, it certainly was missing the crowd. And to see the standing ovation was great.
No question about it. And we'll hear that throughout the course of this season inside this Scotiabank Saddle Dome for sure. Thanks for doing it.
You got it.
Well, back out on the road already, just like that, eh?
You're on your own on this one. I'm not on this one, so you got to look after yourself.
Well, either way, we'll put a wrap on this one here from the Scotiabank Saddle Dome. 4-2 the final here. The Boston Bruins come in and play spoiler to the Luch salute here this evening. But you talk about a special moment for him, playing a couple of former team and his current team. So a special moment, little salute. Thanks to the fans. And we move onward and upward on back into the road. 2-game road trip, back-to-back games in Chicago and Nashville starting Monday, finishing Tuesday in Nashville before opening up a 5-game homestand before Christmas here at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome. We'll see you Tuesday, the 16th. Toronto Maple Leafs are in town at the Scotiabank Saddle.